Assalamu alaikum. My name is Usama Wahid. Today I am along with my group members Hafsa Mudassir and Saud Afzal presenting the ERP implementation failure of Nike. So first of all, I will give brief introduction of ERP. Please Hafsa ERP की slide लगा दो. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Management. ERP is basically a tool for information. It is used by organization to integrate all the management functions of business process. It automates and simplifies the individual activities of organizations such as project management, supply chain, procurement, and accounting management, etc. The implementation of ERP is very expensive, and because of this, ERP failure may result in disastrous situation for the company. Change कर दो. So Nike is basically an American multinational company which was founded in 1964. It is a multi-billion dollar multinational corporation which has more than 40,000 employees and operating in different regions of the world. Nike is one of the largest sports footwear and apparel company in the world. Please change the slide. So Nike and ERP implementation in 2002, when Nike decided to replace its old ERP system, which was insufficient and inaccurate, by IT2 technologies. The Nike with IT2 technologies want to gain control over its manufacturing process, and they thought that this new ERP system will help them to automate organization entire main process and may assist them to forecast the future market changes of the company. And their goal was to integrate the ERP and CRM system into a single platform, but the implementation was result in a complete failure. So implementation was result in a complete failure. तो new software अगर successful हो जाता उस वक्त तो Nike could have reduced its manufacturing time and could increase the response rate towards market changes or market trends. Please change the slide. And following are the few mistakes that Nike made. First was Nike did not hire any arbitrator और एनी थर्ड पार्टी जो नाइकी को हेल्प करता को अपना एक ERP सिस्टम को स्मूथली और सफिशिएंटली वो कंपनी में इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए नाइकी ने कोई आर्बिट्रेटर साइन नहीं किया. इसकी वजह से एज अ रिजल्ट उनका ERP सिस्टम कम्प्लीटली फेल हो गया. द सेकेंड पॉइंट इज Nike software had incorporate issues as it had different business rules and stored data in different formats. So IT2 software was extensively customized to operate according to Nike older function. Due to that, the system frequently crashed down. Thirdly, Nike अपने ERP इम्प्लीमेंट करने के हवाले से कम्प्लीटली इम्पेशेंट था. उसने जल्दी जल्दी पूरे कंपनी में ERP को इम्प्लीमेंट कर दिया. मतलब कि ERP जब इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं वो एक डिपार्टमेंट से स्टार्ट करते हैं फिर होल कंपनी में इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं, लेकिन नाइकी ने पूरी कंपनी में एक साथ इम्प्लीमेंट कर दिया. एज अ रिजल्ट द ERP फेलियर वाज रिजल्ट इन कंप्लीट Nike company failure, not a department failure. The third point is Nike did not provide प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग टू देयर एम्प्लॉय को प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग नहीं दी गई थी, जिसकी वजह से ERP सिस्टम जो है वो एम्प्लॉयज़ को सही यूज़ करना नहीं आया था. इस वजह से प्रोडक्ट जो है ओवर प्रोड्यूस होना शुरू हो गए थे और इस की वजह से नाइकी ने बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स भी फेस की और नाइकी के ऑफिशियल्स ने इसको सप्लाई चेन सिस्टम और फोरकास्ट डिमांड सिस्टम ऑफ IT2 टेक्नोलॉजीज़ को अब फेलियर का ब्लेम भी किया है. और उन्होंने इनपुट क्योंकि इनपुट डेटा ऑर्डर जो नाइकी ऑर्डर करता था तो वो 6 to 8 वीक में डिलीट हो जाया करता था खुद ब खुद. इसकी वजह से जो मैन्युफैक्चर कंपनी के एम्प्लॉयज़ होते थे उनको पता नहीं होता था कि कितना ऑर्डर उन्हें मैन्युफैक्चर करना है. इस वजह से प्रोडक्ट ओवर प्रोड्यूस होना शुरू हो गए थे और वो उसके एज अ रिज़ल्ट इन्वेंट्री कॉस्ट इंक्रीज़ हो रही थी और लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट भी इंक्रीज़ हो रही थी। और कुछ जगहों में ड्यू टू दिस मेल फंक्शनिंग एयर जॉर्डन के ऑर्डर नाइकी को रिसीव नहीं हो सके थे। उस वजह से नाइकी उनके ऑर्डर प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर सका था, मैन्युफैक्चर नहीं कर सका था, और नाइकी एज अ रिज़ल्ट जो है बहुत सा लॉस हुआ था नाइकी को। नाइकी लॉस ऑलमोस्ट 100 मिलियन ऑफ डॉलर्स, और जिसकी वजह से नाइकी के शेयर्स भी 20% से डाउन हो गए थे। प्लीज़ चेंज दिस स्लाइड। नाइकी के शेयर्स इस फिगर में आप देख सकते हैं कि 20% से डाउन हो गए थे। अब आगे से अफसा कंटिन्यू करेंगी।
Hi everyone, my name is Hafsam Nasser and I'm going to be presenting the solutions part for our Nike report for enterprise resource planning. First, after this organizational failure due to the failure of ERP implementation at Nike, there were a few solutions that were recommended by different individuals in order to how to correct these mistakes, which were very costly for the organization. The first solution that was presented was that experts for different technology softwares that Nike is going to use, they should be hired, especially experts of I2 technology, so that when the management at Nike implement an ERP system that concerns I2 technology, that will help Nike to in order to ensure a smooth flow and a smooth operation of the software throughout the organization. And there will be accessible, then data and the information will be accessible throughout different departments, which will help avoid Nike make any mistakes. The second part of the solution is that, first of all, as Osama discussed in his previous part, Nike did not train his employees before, and they had a difficult time adjusting to the new ERP software that was being implemented. So, in order to ensure that the employees have a comprehensive understanding of what software, where, and when it's being implemented throughout the organization, it is essential that the organization provides them a better understanding through training and different workshops, so that they have a better know-how about the ERP software that is being implemented in the organization. Nike decided to train its employees according to 140 to 180 hours, so that they can understand the software better, as I previously mentioned. After this, Nike also tried a different approach by using a geographical method instead of being confined to its organizational means. And Nike also chose another SAP ERP system to forecast and further evaluate future market demands and trends. Now, when we talk about after all of the solutions were implemented and the after effects of these implementation of these corrective measures, we could see that it took a long time for Nike to correct its mistakes and again gain a steady path towards success, which took Nike more than almost 6 years. It also faced after trying out different projects and correcting their mistakes, cutting down on costs. It took a total of more than $500 million, which is a huge amount for any organization. Then, further, in order to recover the losses and to gain more profits, Nike decided to invest in different projects as well. They decided to invest in projects like delivery processes, production systems through a single ERP approach instead of implementing various ERP approaches, so that there is a smooth flow of data across the organization and there is no confusion as well. With time, this project also turned out to be successful for Nike, and they were successful in recovering costs that they had previously lost during the failure of implementation of the previous ERP system. Again, after that, Nike also, after correcting their mistake, Nike decided to implement three softwares at the same time, so that every software works for a different feature in the organization, which will help them to cater to different needs as well. So these included ERP, CRM, and SCM. this new approach that they had taken for implementing three softwares at the same time, which catered to different needs of the organization as well as the product developed. This helped them to minimize costs and effectively fulfill demands on the market. The lessons that we can take from this organizational failure, which was a result of the failure of ERP implementation at Nike, is that it is always suggested that organizations shouldn't ever underestimate or even overestimate the strength or a power of a software or the effects that it can bear in the organization. And it is always necessary and it is always better to take precautionary measures instead of just going all the way through with the ERP software and implementing it throughout the organization without any prior planning. The next lesson that we can see from the failure of implementation of ERP at Nike is that before implementing or before making any other big decisions at the organization, it is better to get feedback from your employees as well as train them regarding the certain matter that is being discussed, so that employees also know what they have and hand to work for, and they if employees are underhand, if the organization has lesser employees that are specialized in those tasks, then the company itself can hire more specialized experts that have a better sense of knowledge in that field. The last lesson that we can take from this organizational failure, which was not a complete organizational failure, but a part of it, is that organizations should or companies should always implement ERP in different phases, as I said before, and as also as Osama mentioned previously, that ERP systems should always be implemented in different phases as well as different departments to check out their credibility, to check out their successfulness, if they really work with the organization's values, if they work with the organization's previous processes, and if they blend well to ensure a smooth process to ensure success in the future. So instead of just implementing the ERP system or a ERP software throughout the organization at once, because this increases the chance of uncertainty. You can either have a long-term success or you can have complete organizational failure, which is which has both great risks. So in order to minimize risk for any organization, ERP systems should always be implemented in different phases. Now next over to South.
Okay, so uh, hello, did I start?
Yes, sure.
Okay, sir, Assalamu alaikum. Uh, my, my name is Saud Afzal, and I'll discuss the conclusion part. After performing an in-depth analysis regarding the failure of ERP implementation at an Nike company, it is clear that organizations need to be very cautious while implementing ERP systems, as there are many important factors of success in that. Those success factors needs to be seen in order to achieve the desired results. Proper recommendations should be made before the implementation of any ERP system to assure its success. uh, uh, the key success drivers need to be reflected on while implementing ERP systems, whether it's a big or a very small system or a software. Although, in case of Nike, it was not a complete failure, as Nike immediately identified the reason for the failure of its ERP system. The organization soon realized that the supply chain management implementation using an ERP system is not a very easy task, and therefore should not be taken for granted. The I2 system was a very small scale system, but the company should have taken all the measures in order to make it a success. Nike immediately came up with a new software, which was an offshoot of an I2 failure, and that software was SAP R3, which was exclusively used for footwear and apparel industry. Uh, uh, the SAP AFS was used by Nike throughout the geographic locations, and at the same time, Nike also implemented various applications of SAP for its supply chain management in order to make the process much more smooth and efficient. Okay, we are done with the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so that is all. Thank you very much. This was certainly the failure implementation that we discussed that happened at Nike, which was not a complete organizational failure, but was a part of it because Nike did catch certainly its mistakes in time. So, thank you.